Is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, guys, guess what? I'm pumped up. I know. I'm always pumped up. But the thing is, I am actually pumped up tonight because we have Dr. Lucette Beall with us, and she is an amazing person. I can't wait for you guys to talk to her. She is going to teach you how you can build an extraordinary life. But first, I ask you guys if you would please, please share this episode out. Invite all your friends, family to watch it. Heck, you can even invite your people you don't like to watch the show. Just invite them. And then make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on this. Keep the questions coming because we like to have a conversation, not just make a presentation. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Dr. Lucette Beall.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Fantastic. You could even say extraordinary.
That is I don't know. I was gonna try to come up with something extraordinary to say, but I couldn't do it. So, but if you would like to go ahead and go through a short introduction about yourself, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and where you're from, I would appreciate it.
All right. I am Dr. Lucette. I am a veterinarian. And I own my own practice for 22 years. I sold it a year ago. I am an international best-selling author,
Wow.
speaker, and mental, a mindset life coach as well. Yes. And I'm from Texas, the Dallas area. I've been here for a very long time.
And what is the name of your town? I read this somewhere.
Savannah. It's really within Aubrey, so it's
All right. So in Aubrey, are you allowed to dance in your town?
yes.
I saw something that you weren't allowed to dance at one time.
Oh, yeah, so for some years ago, I have no idea. Texas is big on dancing, so that's interesting because I grew up. My parents loved to dance; they loved to two-step, and yeah, so I grew up dancing.
Two-step. Yeah, well, when your town first started, I guess the guy that founded the town wouldn't allow dancing.
Interesting. In Aubrey,
Yeah.
so I wasn't born and raised here, but I have lived here for a very long time.
All right. Well, I had to educate you a little bit on your town. And
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So I did some digging today, so that's how I know that. But I happen to know from my own story. You see, I was in a coma 2.5 months after a severe car accident. I was actually hit by a semi, and I spent, like I said, 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital.
hmm
I was told I probably wouldn't walk again, but guess what? I am doing it now, and I'm going to run. There's nobody that can stop me from running except for me, and I'm not going to hold myself back. So I know that life tends to throw things in the way, tries to hold you back, tries to stop you from climbing that mountain to success. But has there been anything in your life that has tried to hold you back?
Well, there's been some major challenges that definitely changed me and changed the trajectory of my life. Right after I got divorced and I didn't ask for child support, I found myself diagnosed with cancer,
Oh,
facing 15 months of cancer treatment with no child support, and I was self-employed, so I had no paid sick days either. And I was facing multiple surgeries, chemotherapy, and radiation. And then I stepped out of my business a couple of years later to, after getting through that, to help my brother after he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury, which is why your story, meant so much to me, because my brother was not expected to live. And then he wasn't ever supposed to wake up from a coma. And then he was never supposed to be able to walk. But he ended up in a mental hospital, a state mental hospital. And unless I stepped out to help him, that's where he was going to have to live the rest of his life. And
Oh,
I couldn't do it. So I stepped out of my
there-
business to help him, and I almost lost everything. I almost went bankrupt before it was all said and done. But I went on to build a 7-figure business and sell it, and all the things that I learned to be able to not only survive but thrive and learn to see challenges in a different way and be able to teach others how to live life in a way that allows them to thrive no matter what's going on around them as well. That's what I do now. And that's my passion.
that is amazing. I love people that help other people thrive in life, not just survive in life. So I find that to be really admirable. Congratulations. So I would like to say hello to Ben Bruce Efane Jr., who's watching us from Lagos, Nigeria tonight.
Wow.
Hope things are settling down over there, Ben Bruce. I know they've been kind of up in arms about things. They're protesting about the government and stuff. It's not a good situation. So if you all right, I have to ask though, which I don't know if I should ask this, but how exactly did your brother suffer the TBI?
It was in a horse accident. He was a roper. So they were roping steers in his own arena, and his horse got tangled up, and he was training a new horse, and it got tangled up in the steer, and it fell. And then he tried to jump to get clear of it, but he wasn't able to get far enough away, and the horse rolled and rolled over his back legs, so he was pinned. And then it hit him in the back, and the ground under the dirt was really, really hard, and his head hit in there, and then he had dirt in his mouth. But they called it like shaken baby syndrome. That's how hard his head hit, came back up and hit again, is that's what it created in his brain.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that. Now, I have another question that you said you were diagnosed with cancer and
Mhm,
you went through what, 15 months
mhm.
of radiation or chemo.
All of
And
the things, surgeries, radiation, chemotherapy.
all
Mhm.
right, well, may I ask what kind of cancer it was?
I had breast cancer, and I
Right.
was finished treatment in 2011, so I've been cancer-free now for 13 years. Yeah.
Woo! Hey, if you guys can do me a favor, put a number 13 in the comments because she needs our help celebrating that. That is one heck of an accomplishment. So let me put number 13 in the comments here because, yeah, that is wow. I gotta give you a round of applause for that one. But so how was it going through all the therapy and or not therapy? Gosh, I'm thinking about my situation. So, how difficult was it to go through all the chemo and radiation and surgeries and things?
You know what? It was not easy, but I was really blessed with the support that I had around me. And I was able there was a I had 5 surgeries. One of them I missed 2.5 days of work. That was the most. Most of them I missed, I guess that was 3 days. Most of them I missed 2 days at the most, and I only missed hello, Judy. Um, I would miss 2 days for the chemo and then be back at work until the next round of chemo. because if I wasn't there, we weren't making money. And so, I was the only income for not only my family, the child and I, but also, to keep the business afloat and all the employees employed as well.
Yeah. So that had to be extremely tough. Am I correct in saying that?
Again, it was not easy, and there were days I really didn't feel good, and I might be in a chair in the back part of the time, and they bring the pets to me, but I'm grateful. It changed my life, and it changed the way I thought about things, and I have no I mean, I'm grateful not only that I survived it, but also I'm grateful for how it changed me to go through that.
All right. So now I have to ask, how did it change you?
It started the process of really changing my thinking because we are taught to live from the outside in. We're taught, to look to others for for validation and for who we are. And we get all tangled up in, you made me mad, or other people's expectations of us, our expectations of other people. And it makes it messy when you're going through challenges. And when you start learning to live from the inside out and you really start getting clear about who you are, and you start being able to be kind to others, but not take on their emotions, not be responsible for their choices or emotions, and you take 100% responsibility for yours, you start to be able to face challenges a lot easier, and you start to look for solutions instead of staying in the problem, and it really changes everything about how your life goes. And I wouldn't have those tools if I hadn't, and I wouldn't have had the tools to be able to help my brother if I hadn't been through the cancer first.
That that is amazing because I say all the time that we look outside for validation. We look outside for our happiness,
Yep.
but we don't really have to. You
Nope.
see, the way I believe, I can't I'm not going to speak for you here, but the way I believe is that we get this one thing that I call joy in the heart. And if you have joy, it doesn't really matter what else happens because that joy is always going to win. So you can have bad days. In fact, everybody has bad days. They all have character building days. They all have extremely tough days. But even me, yeah, I'll even admit it that even I do. But when you have what I call joy in here, that stuff really doesn't matter. So when I say that I am doing fantastic or great, or I hardly ever say that I am doing anything below great because I have that joy in my heart. It doesn't matter what is happening around me. I am still joyful. I'm still happy. And that is amazing to me because it took me going through what I went through to realize that. And it sounds like you had to go through what you went through to get that. But so, one thing that I keep coming back to on this show is that we are trying to teach lessons that we learned from going through something that we want to save other people from going through. So, if I could get one person to take these lessons that I learned from this, if you can get one person to learn the lessons that you learned from going through this, then we have done our job. So,
Yes.
what is all right? What would you say to somebody that is going through a rough time right now? How would you get them to see your lessons that you learned?
So if they're going through a hard time right now, the most important thing is to find ways to feel better any way you can, because that's how you get the power to take the next step or get up the next morning. Appreciation is a really big tool that I still use daily, that really helped me
Yeah.
tremendously. Because if you and I do it in three different, and you use three different ways, but one of the most important that you need to appreciate, I mean, it helps if you appreciate with joy in your heart, appreciate whatever good is coming during this hard time from the people around you, but also appreciate yourself. Appreciate whatever you manage to do when you're going through a hard time. If you got out of bed that morning, appreciate it. If you didn't, then be at peace for, you know what, I'm having a really tough time, and love yourself. Be kind to yourself, because one of the things we do when we're going through challenges is we beat ourselves up. We constantly tell ourselves we should be more, we should be able to do better. And all that does is sink us further down in the hole. And
Yeah,
we need to be
that
kind to ourselves. You know, if that was the one thing you could say, is find things to appreciate about yourself and be kind to yourself.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I struggled with. So recently, which I wouldn't, I'll just say recently, I have been through some mental health struggles. Now, I never thought I would go through mental health struggles because I have all these tools.
Right.
But without these tools, I can't imagine where I would be if I didn't have these tools. So it's really tough for me to accept and realize that it's okay that I'm going through this stuff.
Mhm.
And I want everybody out there to know that it's okay if you're going through whatever you're going through, because it's a part of life.
Mhm.
It's something that we all have to do at one time or another. And if you haven't had to yet, congratulations, you're lucky, but it's coming, I promise you.
Well, one of the things I have found in my life is every challenge, be that going through a tough time mentally, or, you know, struggling with your mental health, every challenge has the opportunity to take you to a place that you never would have gotten to go to without that challenge. And so when you're going through that challenge, you have the opportunity to even create more tools and learn more tools for yourself that allow you to be more resilient and less likely to be in that place again. When you don't beat yourself up, when you're kind to yourself, when you say, you know, today's kind of tough, but I know I'm doing the best I could, and you're open to what might else might work. Maybe if I listen to some music, maybe if I, you know, I create a private playlist, maybe there's somebody that I really enjoy being around that I can go be with. Maybe I can have my favorite chocolate shake. When we're
Mm,
beating ourselves up, we don't do those things for ourselves, which is what keeps us in that space and keeps us from developing more tools that make life better for us. But every challenge has the opportunity for us to turn it into something that we could never have had without that challenge.
yeah, so I think what you're saying is you're elaborating a little bit more on enjoy the things that you enjoy. And you're explaining, tell me if I'm correct, but you're explaining that you don't have to do big things all the time.
Right.
Sometimes you can just take the joy from little things in life. And
Yeah, and
I
always be kind to yourself, even if it's a day when you just feel you don't feel good and you're not gonna do much. You know what? I need rest today. My mind needs rest, my body needs rest. It's perfectly okay. I don't have to go do this today. Everything that is there to do will be there tomorrow. Instead of saying, "Well, why can't I get up? What's wrong with me?" Right? Instead, be kind to yourself. It's amazing how that will change things and how much better you will begin to feel when you do that for yourself.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So I'm writing some stuff here in the comments on YouTube, and I've written Inside Out. That's the way you say that
Mhm.
you help people to live, because they're living outside in, and you're helping live inside out, which is cool. And then always find ways to feel better. So that, remember, that doesn't have to be huge. They
Mm-mm.
can be small things,
Mhm.
such as appreciation. So, like, one thing that I do is that I go for a walk a lot of times in nature. And I just look at all the beautiful things around me. I happen to love seeing animals, and just like I see deer quite a bit, and it's like, what? Yeah, it's really cool. And then I wrote challenges mean opportunity, and that is how can, all right, I'm trying to think, but the opportunity that you may not have ever had if you didn't go through that challenge, correct?
Mhm.
And then always be kind to yourself. Now, I think this is the like the most important one,
Mhm.
because this is one that is even hard for me at times.
Yeah.
Like when I'm struggling or going through something that is difficult, I'm often not the kindest person to myself. I'll be kind to other people, but
Yes.
I'm not always the kindest to myself. So how can you explain, how can you tell somebody just to be kind to themselves? And what are the steps that they should take in order to be kind to themselves?
Well, one of the most important things is when we're criticizing ourselves, we're not moving the needle to a better place, because we just feel worse and worse. Like we're making ourselves feel worse by what we're telling ourselves. And there's no solutions to be found when you're being mean to yourself, because you're not thinking about how, even if if you have a person that you have a difficult relationship with, be it a coworker or a family member, and if you, well, why, you're either mad at them or you're mad at yourself over the conversation, then there's no ability to move the needle on being able to handle that situation better. We just have the same arguments or the same thing over and over again. When we're mean to ourselves, we're not allowing healing to take place. But we've all learned that. That's part of the outside in, is we've learned that criticism, we've learned that voice, and we don't recognize it a lot of times. We don't even really realize we're doing it sometimes. Appreciation of ourselves helps us when we start talking nice to ourselves, or making an effort to appreciate ourselves. Like, I'm proud of myself that I did this small thing. I brushed my teeth today. If you're having a bad day, I'm proud of myself for that. If you start to do that, then you start to hear that critical voice more, which is allows you to begin to change that, what that is. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Ben Bruce is truly paying attention. I
Yes.
I dig that.
I do too. Because if you appreciate yourself and if you start to change, so I have what I call a reframe game. And it's because you can't be mean to yourself and, well, I never do that right. And I can't do this and go, oh, yeah, I always do that. Right. Because you're not going to believe it. And you only receive as big as you believe. So starting to believe in your healing and your next steps comes from being kind to yourself. And reframing it can be as simple as, well, what if sometimes things work out for me? Well, what if it's possible that I could feel better? Well, what would it look like if I could feel better? What might my day look like if I was having a better day? And you can start to imagine that. And as you start to imagine that, you start to retrain your brain, which is that's retrain your brain. And I use reverse, reframe, rebuild. To reverse is part of the appreciation. Reframe is changing the words, the things around what we believe. And you can do that for things in the world, that because sometimes we let beliefs that we have around maybe, politics or economics. Well, I can't do well because everything's so expensive. And this, as long as we tell ourselves that, that's how it's going to go for us.
Yeah.
So we want to start changing that. And you might say, well, what if I could thrive in this economy? What if I could create a business that allowed me to? What if I could get a promotion at work and this wasn't hard? You just start to soften that so you can start to change it to where you can reach a point over, a few days or a few weeks where you can say, I can do this. Ideas start coming, but the ideas won't come when you're telling yourself that it's not possible.
Yeah.
Because you're telling your brain there's no possibility. So it is not going to look for solutions. But your brain is super powerful. If
Yeah.
you feed it things like, I can do this, or there's always a solution. It doesn't matter how difficult the challenge is, there's always a solution. I mean, I was near bankruptcy and I made up my mind I wasn't going to go bankrupt after I'd been struggling and I was going through difficulties and I was feeling bad and I was feeling like a failure. And so solutions weren't coming. And when I changed my mind and made up my mind that I wasn't going to fail and I wasn't going to go bankrupt, and then started doing the work every day, using the appreciation journal, using the reframe game to reframe my thoughts. When at first it was hard, I'd get to work and the creditors are calling and you're juggling all the same things. But I started having more resilience as I started doing that for myself. And so I started to be able to see solutions. And I went from 3 years of just struggling financially to in 1 year getting almost out of debt from hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt by changing my mindset.
Congratulations. So changing your mindset, that's so amazing. But I have to ask there, because you said that there's always this solution to every challenge.
Yep.
Now, that right there is a quotable. So I think you guys need to put that in the comments right now and make sure you give credit to Dr. Lucette Beall, because that is an amazing quote. But I want to say that Ben Bruce put, there's always a solution, even before I asked that.
Yes.
So that is really cool. And I forgot to say hi to Judy MC earlier. I forgot. She is from Nairobi, Kenya, and I met her when I was over there. She's an awesome person. And I'm glad that she tuned in tonight. So, I heard that you're an international best-selling author.
Yes.
May I ask what? And then you can tell us a little bit about that book, and then you can tell us how we can get that book.
Okay. So, Leading with Legacy, I can get it. And there was another one. And so it's
another one.
Mm-hmm. So 2 books. Now I'm currently writing my own book. So that'll be out, in the next 6 months. So this book has 20 different, go the right way, 20 different inspiring stories in here. And this story helped start me on my journey to creating an extraordinary life in terms of a business and sharing it with others. And it's available on Amazon. Sorry, Leading with Legacy.
Leading with Legacy. I'm gonna put that in the comments on YouTube, so people make sure they remember that. Leading with Legacy. Sorry, I'm not the quickest typer because I only have control over one hand basically. So hey, but I'm making it work one day at a time.
You are.
So, and may I ask what your other book is back there?
That was the first one in this series. It's not so, I think it's out of print right now. It's Women Who Ignite.
All right.
But that started, that was the very start of my journey, and now I have one book that I'm working on and another book that I already have planned out once I finish this one to work with in the veterinary community for mental health in the veterinary community, because we need it. And so I'm super excited about those things. I love working with my clients. so much fun to see them getting aha moments. And I love speaking. I just spoke on Friday at an event for Minority Business Expo in Lexington, Kentucky. And it was such a joy. And I met so many wonderful people. And yeah, I just love to have the opportunity to give others the tools to find challenges easier and to live a life where there is more joy and less stress. And, because that is so huge. And it actually changes us in terms of our physical health as well as our mental health. When we address our mental health, our physical health is a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. So, how can somebody reach out to you if they're ever looking to talk to you?
So if I have a website, drlucette.net, but I'm also on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all under Dr. Lucette or Dr. Lucette Beall, Beall. And I have a Facebook group called How to Live an Extraordinary Life. And we do lives every Monday. So they can always reach out there for questions. They can message me on any of those. I've had people message me on TikTok, on, Facebook, everywhere, Instagram. So any place they can reach out and find me and reach out to me if they want to talk to me. I do one-on-one, and I do have free 30-minute consults if they just want to, connect and just talk and say, hey, how can I strategize my life? That I'm absolutely available for that.
Wow, that is amazing. So she just gave you the goods right there. If you ever want to take her up on that, let her know. So I need everybody out there, including you, Dr. Lucette, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds will run out on your one life. I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a great week. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.